What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. WBO Junior Welterweight Champion Teofimo Lopez, aka Mr. Takeover, former unified or undisputed lightweight champion Teofimo Lopez. According to who you talk to, man. Some people say he was undisputed. Some people said he was unified. They said that he was unified and Devin Haney was the WBC lightweight champion. That's neither here nor there, but I got one question to ask Teofimo Lopez. Why didn't you take the Brian Norman Jr. fight for the WBO welterweight title? Why you didn't do that? Because this is why we in the situation we in right now. You unhappy. You didn't get the Boots fight. You wanted to fight Boots and have a chance to become three-time millennial champion in 3 different weight classes. I understand all that. Boots is trying to unify at 147. If he ain't going to unify, he's moving up to 154. He's not killing his body to make 147 for a fight where he's fighting a non-champion. The other champions at 147, Brian Norman Jr., who you could have fought. I think when it supposed to take place either late last year or early this year, he could have had the fight. But Teofimo Lopez said, nah, I don't want to fight Brian Norman Jr. I don't want to fight Brian Norman Jr. on a Friday. What difference does it make? You fighting for a world title. I guess he was feeling some type of way about, people give Shakur Stevenson, a fellow top-ranked stablemate, a hard time by fighting on a Thursday when he fought Edwin De Los Santos. That was a fight for a world title. It don't matter what day it was on. That was a big fight on ESPN. It wasn't on no pay-per-view. It was on ESPN, one of the top sports channels in America. And you would have been fighting on ESPN. It's crazy. That's why you're in the situation you in. Boots would have fought you if you had a title at 147. If you was a WBO welterweight champion after defeating Brian Norman Jr., if you would have defeated him, you would have got the Boots fight. Everybody's saying Boots ducking and this, that, and the third. Boots, maybe he can take the fight. He don't want to take the fight. But Boots has been clear as day, saying he wants to fight unifications at 147. Y'all seen how Boots been looking in his last couple of fights at weigh-in? He's been looking like Skeletor. He's young enough he's able to bounce back the next day and still put on good performances. But everybody know that when he get to 154, he's going to be much stronger. He probably going to put on better performances, and that's saying something when you look back on the performance that he put on versus Stellonis in his last fight. But Teofimo Lopez, why didn't you not fight Brian Norman Jr.? Because you'd have fought Brian Norman Jr., you'd be the WBO welterweight champion, and you and Boots would be fighting in a unification fight August 16th. Instead, you agreed to fight Devin Haney. Devin Haney is former undisputed at 135, former WBC champion at 140. Don't have a belt now. He chose not to defend his title against Sandor Morta, so he was stripped after the Ryan Garcia fiasco, where he got cheated with an Ostarine-infested Ryan Garcia. People still hating on Devin Haney. Yeah, he might have had the wrong game plan, but he fought a guy that was on PEDs. He had an unfair advantage. Boxing is a dangerous enough sport as it is. We don't need to be giving guys even more ammunition, more to their arsenal than they already have through training, through running, through nutritionists doing all they can do to get their body prepared to go in a 10-round fight, 12-round fight. Don't matter if it's a 6-round fight or 8-round fight. That wasn't the case when we talk about Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. With that being said, the fight was agreed to take place at 145 pounds. With it being at that weight, that means it's going to be a non-title fight. It's not going to be for Teofimo Lopez 140-pound WBO belt that he has in the junior welterweight division. It'll be a catch weight, probably for big money. I'm pretty much sure Devin Haney is getting big money and Teofimo Lopez getting big money. But at the end of the day, Teofimo Lopez is not happy with the situation. He's chasing legacy. He's trying to be great. He was really looking forward to the Boots fight. Boots promoter Eddie Hearn wanted to fight. Turkey Al Sheikh, who's financing this whole situation. If it would have took place wanted to fight, but according to Teofimo Lopez, he thinks that Turkey really didn't want to fight. They really didn't do all they could do to make the Jerome Boots in his fight. They should have offered Boots more money, maybe in Teofimo Lopez's eyes. They didn't offer him the money that he was looking for. It was rumors that he was looking for $7 million. Then I heard another rumor that he was looking for $5 million. Maybe they weren't willing to offer that. Maybe if they could have got a little closer to that, maybe he would have took that. I don't know the ins and outs of the negotiations, but Teofimo Lopez is feeling some type of way about the negotiation. He think that at the end of the day, that was just a camouflage. That wasn't number of fugazi negotiations, according to Teofimo Lopez, and that Turki Al-Sheikh all along wanted to make Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney. And if that is indeed the case, don't agree to it. You on social media calling him a dictator, not D-I-C, but the D-I-C-K, dictator. You know, you're saying you've been fired. You know, you're going on this rampage and you're shooting all these shots at different people. And it's not a good look. And like I said, this could have all been avoided if you would have fought Brian Norman Jr. Now Brian Norman Jr. is over there in Japan finna get the bag against Jensen Saki. And you sitting there, you know, looking at a potential fight with Devin Haney. If you don't take that fight, you saying you might retire. I don't see any other appealing options outside of Devin Haney. Who else you gonna fight? You gonna go back to Top Rank? Top Rank is on the outs with ESPN. They don't have too much longer, and they don't have any backup plan from what I'm hearing to fight on any other platform. Maybe they join forces with the PBC and put on fights with the PBC, collaborations on Amazon Prime, and maybe they showcase some of their fighters on Amazon Prime. We will see what happens and we will see what transpires. But again, Teofimo Lopez, I'm gonna ask you this question once again. Why didn't you fight Brian Norman Jr.? You could have been the WBO welterweight champion and then Boots would have fought you, no problem. Go to plan B. Now you feeling some type of way about fighting Devin Haney. Maybe you're unhappy with the money. The thing about when you negotiate with Turki Al-Sheikh, you negotiate with him and you and him agree to a number for you. And then he goes to the fight that you fighting and they negotiate a number that's plausible, that's acceptable for your opponent. So you really don't know exactly. You probably have an idea. You know, you probably can, probably find out, but you really don't know what your opponent makes. Now I heard that Teofimo Lopez signed a 3-year, $30 million deal with Turki Al-Sheikh. That means $10 million a fight. I don't know what Devin Haney is making to fight Teofimo Lopez, but I don't see him making over $10 million. So I don't know. All these numbers get thrown out. I don't even know if Teofimo Lopez is making $10 million fight. He never made close to that in any of his other fights. When he fought Lomachenko, he made a little over $1.5 million for that fight. And that was his biggest fight and biggest win of his career. So I find it hard to believe that he making $10 million, but maybe he is. Making $10 million and you wasn't even the main event on that May 2nd card in Times Square. You was the opening act. You came on first and then Devin Haney came on second and Ryan Garcia came on third. Y'all were the 3 stars of that event, but you came on first. You the opening act. You know, when you go to a concert, the people that open up, that ain't who people really come to see. They the opening act. They come to see the main event. You know, you might have the opening act, then you got the second opening act. They a little bit above you. That was Devin Haney. Then you got the main event. That was Ryan Garcia. You know, that's still people pay their money to come see when you talk about concerts. Same could be said when you talk about that card May 2nd. Not to say that a lot of people didn't tune in to watch Teofimo Lopez, but he was the opening act. So we will see what happens and we will see what transpires. Hopefully the fight materializes between Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, because August 16th has the potential to be a great day for boxing fans. In the afternoon, you can have Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney. In prime time, you can have Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach, the rematch. That would be a great day of boxing. Hopefully it comes to fruition. If not, Devin Haney will be fighting somebody else if it ain't Teofimo Lopez. Hopefully Turki Al-Sheikh will be able to get him another high-profile, big-name opponent and that can be acceptable if Teofimo Lopez decides to retire, if Teofimo Lopez decides to not fight Devin Haney. So we will see what happens and we will see what transpires. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe. Let me know about this video in your comment section. Do you agree that Teofimo Lopez should have fought Brian Norman Jr.? Do you believe that Teofimo Lopez messed the bed up, and now he got the lion. If he would have took on Brian Norman Jr. and won, he would be in a much stronger position. I think he would have indeed got the Jerron Boost in his fight. But follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe. Follow me on TikTok, at JB Sports. New media, follow me on Twitch, at Briscoe MA77071. And follow me on my YouTube channels, at JB Sports, The Man, the Myth, the Legend, 9656, and at JB Sports, The Man, the Myth, the Legend, 9000. And like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, The Man, the Myth, the Legend. And I holla.